Good afternoon, my turtle ducks. Thank you for coming to this very special holiday tea. It's Halloween, also sometimes called Samhain by those of us who view it more spiritually than secularly. Today we have spiced cider and pumpkin cookies. Halloween is one of my most beloved holidays and is one of the most widely celebrated, so I have a lot to say on this one. So what then is Samhain? Technically, it is an amalgamation of many end-of-season holidays, and over the years of both celebration and suppression, it has been mixed and morphed with many other holidays. It has even on occasion been pushed towards combining with Dia de los Muertos. Although the holidays have related themes, they aren't the same. Due to its association with death and endings, Samhain is also sometimes referred to as the Pagan New Year, and is considered the time of when the wheel of the year completes its rotation and starts over. Samhain could be seen as the more somber and religious side of Halloween. While Halloween has taken on the revelry, mischief, and merriment, Samhain took reverence, protection, and remembrance. Although Halloween is October 31st, it can be celebrated throughout the month of October. However, because Samhain is the midpoint between the autumn equinox and the winter solstice, it is mostly celebrated between October 31st and November 2nd. Some may look up the exact astrological date and have private celebrations or rituals. Now, let's go over some specifically Halloween or Samhain traditions. Food is popular at any party, but Halloween parties tend to focus on candy or finger snacks. Samhain, however, is full of autumnal foods that are perfect for parties. Simply searching Samhain recipes online can provide a wealth of delicious foods to try. Fire is also a big component, so candles and bonfires, if safe to have, are staple traditions for Samhain. Storytelling is also a big aspect. We tell scary stories both for entertainment, but also for lessons in survival. How often have you watched a horror movie with friends and shared comments about how the victim might only have survived had they followed a wiser path? Fortune telling, less popular now than it once was, may still be common at Samhain parties in the form of tarot cards, rune readings, or palm readings. Though one may ask about anything, traditionally, health and relationships were top concerns during this turn of the wheel. Pumpkins, of course, are a staple tradition, but have you ever wondered, why pumpkins? Most of our Halloween traditions come from heavily Celtic roots, a geographic location not well associated with the New World gourd. In Ireland, turnips were carved, not pumpkins, but when the Irish came to the US, they found pumpkins in much higher abundance and significantly easier to carve. If you feel like pumpkins are much too easy to carve, you could certainly try your hand at carving yourself a turnip lantern. Costumes were originally meant to protect against evil spirits. Traditionally, the land of the fairies and the land of the dead were the same. It was thought that, as the veil thinned, the beloved departed could return, but so too could malicious spirits cross over to wreak havoc on the living. So frightening masks were donned to disguise people and either frighten the evil spirits away or blend in as one of them. Costumes have changed in their usage in most recent years, but you can still find terrifying black and white photos of children and adults in horror movie-worthy costumes. Halloween is one of the most communally celebrated holidays, so public community gatherings for Halloween are pretty common, particularly now that trick-or-treating is less so. Trunk-or-treats, Halloween festivals held at colleges, churches, and community centers for children, teens, and adults, haunted houses and hay rides, and corn mazes are all popular Halloween events that are generally open to the public. Some are free to participate in, some cost money, but all have similar themes of community, horror, and merriment. Some places have specifically Samhain gatherings, though they are usually less well advertised than a secular trunk-or-treat or hayride. For more specifically witchy and adult engagement, keep an eye out for witches' balls. These tend to be dance and music-focused parties where attendees are required to dress up. Food and libation may or may not be offered, There is usually very little focus on scaring guests and a much stronger focus on dancing, chatting, and drinking. For private parties, you can expect all sorts of things depending on your host's personal preferences. The most common themes to expect should be costumes, spooky decorations, and perhaps a spooky soundtrack playing in the background or a Halloween themed movie. Now, it may seem obvious why anyone would want to celebrate Halloween, but here are a few of my personal reasons. Samhain, or Halloween, regardless of what it has been called by those around me, has been the pagan holiday I knew of and celebrated the longest. The tradition of telling ghost stories by candlelight, gathering in close groups to weather the night together, eating and celebrating. Some of the few memories I have retained over the years have involved celebrations on Halloween. Themes of death and renewal are also important to me. I struggle with remembering, and especially with remembering those I have lost. I cannot see them in my mind like other people describe, but the idea that if I make my home known, and I make it familiar, I might be visited by those gone before is an appealing one. The idea that part of their life spark will remain as long as I remember, and that might be enough to reconnect us, that's very comforting for me. Halloween is also the most communal holiday I celebrate now, with the majority of mine and Papa's friends being non-religious or pagan themselves. Halloween ends up being a bit like our Christmas, where we come together nearly once a week all month to celebrate. It's also the easiest holiday to integrate with a predominantly Christian neighborhood without us feeling uncomfortable or ostracized by a belief we do not share. So, what do we do at Baba's house for Samhain? We usually have coal cannon and roasted vegetables and pumpkin pie. It's also one of only 2 holidays where we have a ritual that we encourage all attendees to participate in. It was the one I was taught by an elder, and I have always favored it. We take 2 pieces of paper, and on one we write things we wish to leave our lives, and on the other one we write things we wish to come into our lives. Papa or I give appreciation to those who have come to join us, give short instructions about letting go of things that we want to leave, and we toss the out papers into the fire. We then similarly give a short instruction about bringing things into our lives, and again toss the paper into the fire. When we have the materials to do so, we smudge anyone who wishes to participate with the smolders of bundled herbs to cleanse and protect them going into the new year. We smear ash on the faces of those who want to participate but cannot due to the smoke. Samhain is also a time of divining, and so I offer to read runes for guests during Samhain. I also typically take my runes to any other Samhain or Halloween parties and offer to read runes for anyone interested there. Of course we encourage costumes, but we do not expect them. Costumes will likely become much more important once we have children filling our friend group. But in the meantime, if no one shows up in costume, Papa and I won't be too worried about our own attire. Costumes and their purpose are best for the young, the ill, and those otherwise at risk of kidnapping by malicious spirits. And finally, a tradition that always earns me pleas to stop: fire jumping. While I cannot suggest anyone else do it, as it is quite dangerous, my father and I have jumped the fires of Samhain for as long as I can remember us having bonfire pits at our disposal. Smudging is a wonderful way to cleanse, but jumping through the fire feels like a way to burn off all that might otherwise carry on behind me. Now, here are some things I'd like to add going forward. Candle chaining. I tried it a bit on Twitter, and I think I will try it again next year as well. I may also try to do it in our in-person friend group. Candle chaining involves making or buying candles for friends and or neighbors and giving them out, only to receive candles in return. One is to pray over the candles for those who gave them, and in return have their own candles prayed over. For non-religious people, simply burning the candles with pleasant wishes should be sufficient if you wish to participate, but don't believe in anything to pray to. I would also like to increase the quality of treats I have to give and have goodie bags for partygoers, as trick-or-treaters have become less and less common. Handmade snacks and treats, stuffed toys, perhaps little thematically appropriate books if any youngsters do make themselves known. And lastly, I'd like to make pashals for partygoers. I only really became aware of them this year. Ashal is an X-shaped cross fashioned to protect children from mean-spirited fairies, to stop outside magical forces, or to seal up one's own magic, and are intended to be hung over the bed for protection. Well, it's just about time I go. I have offerings to leave, runes to read, and some quiet magic to be worked with Papa. Thank you for coming. I'll see you again next time. Until then, be kind, my turtle ducks, to others,